Prep Test 6, Game 3. An interesting one. Anytime they give you something that looks like a diagram, that's going to be a little bit strange. And normally I like to say, if they give you something that looks like it could be the diagram, use it as your diagram. In this particular case, I'm getting ahead of myself. I looked ahead. 8 benches, J, K, L, T, U, X, Y, and Z, are arranged along the perimeter of a park as shown below. And so you can see each one of these nodes is one of the 8 benches. Because they've given us this diagram, the most natural thing to do would be to place the elements at these different nodes and let that be our guide. Is that a song? And let that guide us as we go through these questions. I think that's not a great idea here because basically what we're going to end up doing in that case is redrawing that square every time we do the game. I think it will be better to treat this like an order game where we just start at a particular corner. I think it's probably easiest to just go ahead and start at that northwest slot. If that was confusing to you, you could literally label it northwest, north, northeast, etc. In fact, maybe I will do that. So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we're going to go northwest, north, northeast, and then west. And that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's our 8 different directions, 8 different places where the benches could be. The only big thing we'll want to keep in mind with this particular diagram is we do want to remember that west and northwest are linked. So there are a lot of games where you're like seated around a table, circular table, picnic table, whatever, and you just have to remember that in a circle or something, that first element is going to come back around and be next to that last element. So we might even put in here something like west and over here northwest, just to remind us about that connection. Jumping into the clues, we also get that these elements are essentially two-dimensional. J, K, L are green, so J, K, L are green. T and U are red. X, Y, and Z are pink. You know, the 3 fundamental colors. The green benches stand next to one another along the park's perimeter. Okay, so interesting. We know that J, K, and L have to be in some kind of grouping with each other, but their arrangement could be pretty much any way we want. I'm going to symbolize that with some circular arrows. I just don't want to think to myself that means it has to be J, K, L or L, K, J. This could really be any arrangement of those 3 elements. The pink benches stand next to one another along the park's perimeter. So again, T and U in some arrangement. No green bench stands next to a pink bench. The bench on the southeast corner is T. So almost these 2 clues together, J, K, L, any of them, T, U, any of them, big circle with a slash. None of these can go next to each other. And then we're given a particular place for T. The bench on the southeast corner is T. So simple enough, southeast has to be T. There's some deductions we can get from that. We'll do that in just a moment. J stands at the center of the park's north side. So that's going to have to be what we're just calling north. So J is at north. And if T stands next to X, then T does not also stand next to L. So that's kind of a weird clue because T... Oh, goodness, I messed up. I was going to say that's kind of a weird clue. This is where the LSAT does you a favor sometimes. I was going to say that's a weird clue because I thought, well, T already can't be next to L. That's what we symbolized, right? But those were the red benches. Green can't go next to the pink benches. So I actually got this clue down here wrong because the pink benches are X, Y, Z. What we actually mean is the JKL benches can't be next to the X, Y, Z benches. Okay. And so now they're saying if T is next to X, then T is not also next to L, which means if T is next to L, then it's not going to be next to X. That's probably how I would try to symbolize that. All right, as far as deductions go, well, now that T is red, actually, we can't come up with the deductions I thought we were going to there. I mean, obviously, it can't be something like XTL or LTX, but that'll just have to come up as it goes. Because J is there, we know none of the pink benches can be next, so that's no X, no Y, no Z. Same thing here, X, Y, Z, none of them. I don't know that we get a lot more than that, though. T has to be next to U, so either this will be U or this will be next to U. Wait, actually, is that true? No, again, it's just the pink and the green benches that have to be next to each other. Man, does not seem like there's a lot to go on for this game. Whenever that happens, it could be we're missing a bunch of deductions, or it might be that there just aren't that many deductions in this game. The best thing to do is to jump into the questions and see what happens. If there are deductions we missed, they'll come up naturally as we move through the rest of the rules. If not, then we don't need to worry about it anyway. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing a bunch of specific questions. I mean, I guess, never mind. 17, 18, 19, they just don't happen to be first. If z is directly north of y, which of the following statements must be true? Ooh, that makes me wonder if maybe this was a bad idea to set the diagram up this way, because directly north, I presume, means something like, I have to be along one of those edges or north to south for sure. And that's a little bit harder to keep track of in the diagram as it is. The other problem, of course, is I have no idea where z and y are right now. I do know that they're both pink, which means they're supposed to be next to each other in some sense. The pink benches stand next to one another along the park's perimeter. So I suppose what that means is it can really only be these directions connected to west and east. So it can't be north or south right now. I wish we had some ways. Okay, all right, hold on. This is okay. We can figure this out. None of z or y are supposed to be in those north positions. So for them to be directly north, and keeping in mind that t is already at the southeast corner, really the only way it can work is if they're in these two west positions. And so I think we can say z has to be west. We know about j, we know about t. Z has to be west, and then y would have to be southwest. And we know none of x, y, or z can be in that northwest position, so that means that x is going to have to be south, because those pink benches have to be next to each other. And then JKL. We know that none of the JKL are supposed to be next to z, and so that must mean that this is either K or L, and then this would be the other. And so that northwest slot must be U, must be the other red bench. Interesting. Okay, I was a little worried there, but this diagram's working out all right, presuming I have correctly understood what's happening here. What must be true? J is directly west of K. Well, J is at the north slot, and K could either be northeast or east. So again, this is J, and then this is where the KL or LK ones are. So no, I don't think that has to be true. K is directly east of U. U is northwest, but K could be east, right? So that doesn't have to be true. U is directly north of X. No, so again, U is over here, but X we figured out has to be south in this particular case. So that's no good. X is directly south of J. Yeah, J is north, X is south, X is directly south of J is correct. Very good. Okay, so that's D. 18, if Y is in the middle of the west side of the park, then the two benches in which one of the following pairs cannot be two of the corner benches? All right, well, let's try the same thing, bringing down what we already know about J and T, and then Y is in the middle of the west side. So for us, that means Y actually is west. Well, the same thing's going to happen here. We now know that this is either X or Z, and that's Z or X, because we can't put them next to J. And we also know, again, that means this is either K or L, this is L or K, and again, that means that northwest ends up having to be U. Now, they wanted to know which one of the following pairs cannot be two of the corner benches. So our corner benches right now are U, K or L, T, and then Z or X. And so could it be K and X? Yes. But we want to know what it cannot be. Could it be K and Z? Yes. Could it be L and U? Yes. Could it be L and X? Yes. Could it be L and Z? Uh-oh. Yes. So something's gone wrong. What are we not thinking about? Oh, wait. Let's think about this clue. If T is next to X, T cannot be next to L. So although it's possible for L and X to be there individually, it's not possible for them to be there together. So hold on. Let's think about this again. If this were K, this would have to be L. And then if we want X to be a corner bench, okay, that's possible. But then K and Z... That's not possible. Yeah, so 18 should be B. Again, because if we want Z to be on the corner, that means X would have to be next to T instead. But if K is also on the corner, then L has to be next to T, and L and X cannot both be next to T at the same time. Okay, 19, still moving along. If Y is farther south than L, and farther north than T, then the benches in each of the following pairs must be next to each other except. Well, again, we always know where J and T are, and if T is at this southeast corner, in fact, really, we could label that every time. Could put that right on the diagram if we'd kept their diagram, which I'm thinking maybe we should have. Maybe we should just be drawing these squares every time we do a question instead, but it's kind of too late for that now, I think. If Y is farther south than L and farther north than T, so basically that means L is going to have to be somewhere up here with J, and then Y is going to have to be either west or east. Could be Y here, could be Y here. So, okay, one problem we're running into right now is how do I place Y so as to keep it away from JKL? I think, okay, yeah, let's think of this in terms of Y. If I try to place Y further north than T in the east spot, that means that K and L would have to be in these other two spots. But of course what it says is Y is supposed to be farther south than L. So actually it makes no sense to have L there. So K would have to be here. And then this means this would have to be L. And what else can we figure out if all of that is true? Wait, isn't this a problem in the first place though? Because I was going to say all the pink benches are supposed to be next to each other. Did I never update that clue? Oh my gosh, I didn't. I wonder if I've been doing this wrong. So this was not supposed to be TU. This was supposed to be X, Y, and Z together in one form or fashion. And right now that's impossible. So Y can't be east. That actually tells me for sure Y is going to have to be west. Because again, it has to be further north than T, which is already at the southeast corner. And then for L to be farther north than west, it's going to have to be at the northwest corner or the northeast corner. It can't be at the northwest corner because then JKL would be next to a Y, so L is going to have to go here. I feel like this is almost the same scenario every time for all, for the fact that we have to keep JKL and XYZ apart from each other. K is going to have to go east now. X and Z are going to be able to move around. And then U, of course, is once again going to end up northwest. The benches in each of the following pairs must be next to each other except J and L are next to each other, K and T are next to each other, T and X don't have to be next to each other, and that's that. So 19 is C. Okay, so we've got the 3 specific questions done. I don't know that anything is quite rising to the level of deduction, although again, we're always trying to keep JKL and XYZ apart from each other. Maybe this is a deduction. Do XYZ have to be south, southwest, and west? I think they do. That's the only way to keep them away from J and let them be next to each other. So actually, that is kind of a deduction that we should have figured out. So as you figure out these deductions, make sure to jot them down at the top of your diagram. XYZ actually have to fill those 3 slots. And then really the only question is, where does U end up in this? It could either be northwest or it could be east, though we've never seen it east so far. I guess let's try out 13. Which of the following benches could be northeast? Well, obviously the answer is not J, but I don't see J there. And it's definitely not Z, X, or Y, so I can cross off A, B, and C. I've seen L several times, so yeah, it has to be E there. Okay, not so bad. 14. Each of the following statements must be true except, so this is really a could be false. We want to eliminate anything that has to be true. The bench on the northwest corner is pink. Not necessarily, because we've seen it be U several times. So that's got to be the answer. That is a could be false. Yeah, okay. Resist the habit to check all the other choices. Let's move on. Number 15, which one of the following benches must be next to J? Well, we've definitely seen U several times, but I don't think U... Oh, does it have to be U? Is that another deduction we've missed? It can't be Z, X, or Y, and it can't be another of J, K, or L. Yeah, actually, that is another deduction. Northwest is always going to be U. So J has to be next to U, so that's answer choice D. I'll tell you what, this is going to be feast or famine. Either we're getting this and these are going to be the right answers, or we're going to miss a bunch of questions. For which one of the following benches are there 2 and no more than 2 locations, either one of which could be the location the bench occupies? Well, it's not T, because T has to go in a particular spot. K and then X, Y, or Z. K we've only ever seen in 2 slots, northeast and east, and that's it, right? X, Y, or Z can go in any of 3 locations for south, southwest, and west, but K and L are always flipping between east and northeast. So I'll tell you what, we did miss several deductions here, but I'm feeling good. I think we got all the questions right. E, A, D, A, D, B, C. E, A, D, A, D, B, C. E, A, D, A, D, B, C. Feels good. Always feels good to get them right. Yeah, we did miss several deductions. We should have figured out that U was always on that northwest corner. We should have figured out that X, Y, Z always had to be in those 3 slots because they had to be next to each other. And honestly, those deductions aren't particularly hard. I don't know. I had a late, my baby was up last night or something, but it worked out. Right? Even, maybe we lost a little bit of time. It took us a little longer to work through those specific questions, perhaps, than it would have otherwise. But as long as we're jotting down those things we figure out as we go, you can't go wrong for missing deductions. It might take you a little bit longer to get the questions done, but you're not going to get questions wrong. Deductions are natural consequences of the rules, so as long as you're following the rules, you're going to get those questions right. I hope that's been helpful to you. That was a weird one, kind of a weird diagram, a little bit of a mapping game there, though we ended up treating it like an order game in the end. As always, I'm going through all 300-ish of these LSAT releases, so if you have a game you'd like me to move up in the order, please let me know, and otherwise I'll see y'all next time.